Okay, I'll try not to waste your time with like an overly drawn out intro, but the last couple months on YouTube, I've tried to be like a normal sim racing content creator where I just shadow play an entire race I did offline and then upload like a condensed version of just the highlights on my channel. I'm not having fun, like at all. Taking things a step further, I don't know how other people are actually having fun with these games. In every race I've done, I can't stop running into game breaking or immersion breaking bugs really without trying. It doesn't even matter what game I play or what devs are behind it. Everything is just really fucking janky and really unfinished. The moment you do anything beyond like drive a few laps on the track by yourself, the games just fall apart. I don't know how I'm the only one who seems to be talking about this, especially with how many sim racing channels there are. So let me show you, just pulling up a compilation here, what I've run into over the past month or so.
Already we're seeing some weird issues in the GUI here. My car's name isn't listed, and neither is a lot of other cars. As we go into the advanced setup screen here, you'll notice the tire compound isn't labeled. The fuel load units are in laps when they should be in liters. Now, as we transition into Q2 and take the green flag, pay attention to the bottom right corner of the screen here. It says my oil temperature on the gauge cluster is negative 460 degrees. Let's start the race off with a pair of bugs. Check the top of the screen here. The checkered flag is out before the green flag. That's not how that works. The caution menu says this is the final stage of the race, even though stage racing isn't in the game, so it's referencing a feature not in the game. I don't need to know that a family sedan doesn't have boost. I also don't need to know that it has headlights. I think that's pretty obvious. Right off the bat, we've got a bug here. The AI, for whatever reason, starting next to me, shot out of a cannon, and he is gone, taking the green flag at a completely different speed than I did. Green flag drops, and just like the issue I had in Project Cars last night, the guy beside me, for whatever reason, starts the race at a completely different speed than me. When I respawn like 40 miles an hour off pace, and like 10 cars go by me. As you'll see on the left here, I pass by some weird shadow artifacts that are stationary on the track, but the only light source seems to be coming from the car's headlights. As we pass under the street lights, there's no light being emitted from them. Another big mess happens when the stadium lighting activates. This is real. This is what Shadowplay picked up. The game chugged right as all the lights turned on. Check here how the game freezes to display my pit board, which is just notifying me that I'm slowly running out of fuel, and it causes such a huge stutter that I ended up losing control of the car going into the corner. First of all, the pit crew next to me, take a look at them, start popping in and out. Probably not supposed to be doing that. And second, do you notice how when I started this race there were no lights? The lights came on about 30 laps into a race. If you restart a race after the lights come on, it doesn't revert the time of day. Ultra-wide support, however, is the least of my worries because, for whatever reason, the crew decided my car needed to be fixed and start banging on it with a sledgehammer. As you can see, my car is fine. I haven't touched anyone all race. So, I really did run out of fuel and it worked as it should. So I just pushed the clutch in. I was lucky it happened in turn 3 and 4. I figured I would coast to pit road, drive in under 50 miles an hour so I didn't get a speeding penalty. The AI would take over, drive my car to the pit stall, put fuel in the car, on my way I would be. Apparently no one on the dev team considered that like someone running out of gas and coasting to pit road would be a thing, even though like it's quite common in real NASCAR. So when I got on a pit road and the AI took over my car, it didn't know what to do. It just shut the car off and parked me dead center in the middle of pit road. The lap before he pits, he spends the entire backstretch scraping the wall. Here's the AI driving my car into the wall on the rolling start. As I scroll through the pit menu with the arrow keys, the down arrow simultaneously acts as a look behind button, so like the view keeps looking behind, and when I confirm my options, the AI takes over my car and drives me straight into the wall. I'm rewarded for my adventure as Joey Logano enters the pits at, I don't know, 140, 150, and like he's 5 cars off his pit box, and he just slams straight into the wall, takes out a few different cars, and it turns into like a Chinese workplace accident video where, oh god, he's going backwards now. Oh god, the forklift has run over another employee. This is typically a pretty high-speed corner where you do security lift, but for whatever reason the AI decides to jump on the brakes. They're unable to drive a super speedway flat out, so you'll see Ryan Blaney lift right here, which I'm already checking up because I know it's going to happen because it was happening lap after lap, but he slows down to like 185 to 183 mile an hour when you can run this track flat out at 195. For corners like this, they take a drastically different line than I do. They brake with almost double the performance than I do. Yet my exit, in a lot of circumstances, is much, much better. They will usually leave about a lane to a lane and a half open for you to just drive around them, which is what I'm doing right now. So without any drafting help at all, I'm able to pass massive chunks of the AI with little to no effort, and after rolling off either 39th or 40th on the grid, we're already up to 15th. I am trying to push Anthony Alfredo to the front of the pack, even dealing with the shaky camera, but he is all over the place, cannot hold the line, and we are not catching the cars in front of us. This is identical to an issue found in NASCAR Sim Racing 2005, where the AI, when you try and bump draft them, wander all over the place. I have serious questions about how this game passed the Microsoft and Sony certification checks due to the wide variety of app instability issues which we just ran into there. He somehow isn't getting a draft off the car in front of him, when I am. So to me this doesn't really feel like a race. The AI is not trying to pass, and the draft doesn't even work. Look in my mirror. Do you notice how there's like 5 or 6 cars lined up along the bottom? Why are they not catching me? Why am I pulling away from them? The AI cars in this game aren't able to draft with each other. I stick my car right on the rumble strips to give the AI all the room in the world. He doesn't even acknowledge my existence and just straight up turns into me. So when I go for an overtake, check out that twitch there. Why is the AI car doing that? He'll do it here again as we go through the kink. He turns in and goes, oh my god, the player's there. Yeah, I was there for about a second before that. The leader in the McLaren almost drives in the fucking sand because he doesn't know how to pass a lapped car. The AI car getting lapped in the Aston Martin also doesn't know how to yield to the leader. So the leader is forced to just weave left and right on the straightaway and do really crazy shit like this where he just cuts the corner outright to get around the lap car. As you can imagine, this becomes all sorts of fucked up. He does the same thing where in a right-hand corner he jumps on the brakes and tries to pass the cars on the left because that makes sense. And we come up on another issue here. Pay attention to some of the cars I pass. The Corvette in front of me is crab walking with the steering again locked to the left-hand side. And this is interesting right in front of me. Take a look at this. The other DPI car that was involved in that opening lap / opening sector wreck with the P1 car, I guess went to the pits and tried to repair the damage. And now his car is floating off the ground and missing 2 right side tires. Another issue, the AI cars literally check up for pit lane on the racing surface. Check out this crazy shit that's about to happen. That's James Davison in front of what are supposed to be the leaders, diving off to pit road as he's taking the white flag. You would think they would pick a slightly better lap to go to the pits on. Pay attention to the cars in front of me. Kyle Larson and then Chris Buescher here will start bouncing. What the fuck is that?
So after watching that, how am I supposed to recommend sim racing to other people? How are people actually managing to give these games positive scores or review like pieces of DLC when it falls apart this frequently? And why is no one else talking about this?